So I'm David Lee, second generation owner of B&L Sheet Metal before Tecta bought us. My dad started the company in 1968. Came back to work for my dad after I got married. Eventually took it over from him, and then Tecta bought us in 2020. We're a smaller company. For years, we were always in the 7-8 million range. Last year, we did a little less than 14 million. Just like any company, we had good times and we've had some slow years. And in 2011, 12, 13, they were tight years. But I told my wife, okay, I'll look at possibly selling. And it was through a broker that contacted Tecta. And then I sat down with Mark and Dave probably within 6 months of me first investigating selling the business. And we had a great rapport with each other, just to kind of hit it off, about business and roofing, we just had a great conversation. I walked out of the meeting and think, well, hey, maybe they would be interested in that. Yeah. And shortly after that, I actually got my letter of intent. I think it was either March 12th or April 12th, probably March 12th. Yeah, March 12th of 2020. We got that letter of intent, and then we laughed. My wife and I laughed. I said, well, there goes that. We're heading into a great recession. Who knows what's going to happen? There's no way they're going to do it. Well, that wasn't true. And we sold in June 29th of 2020. We got the letter of intent in March. So it was a lot of just due diligence on their part and me feeling, giving them all the information I could give. It's a pretty quick process once they decided the letter of intent. So I'd say the whole process was probably mid-January until end of June. It was done. She had another offer, and they were both about the same. But I think it was just, I really didn't know anything about Tecta. I Googled them, and after I found out who they were and this and that. But, when you read something on their website, how many times have I bought something based on something on the website and then it doesn't live up? But when I talked to Dave and Mark, I felt, this sounds pretty good. Just before I had with them that one meeting, they're really going through everything very carefully. So it kind of gave me confidence that, this isn't just, because in the back of your mind, you're thinking, what I don't want to happen is someone buy me and then all of a sudden someone new comes in. Hey, David, we're eliminating your position. We're going to put someone else in here and I'll have your employees leave. I really felt like their whole approach is they want to buy companies and help them grow. And they're not coming in to revamp the business. They want to buy businesses that are successful, that they feel they can grow more. And that's been true to us. I mean, you do have a little bit of trust. I had to trust what Mark called me a few times and gave me some names of people I could call, other roofing companies in Tecta, and I did call a couple guys. And everything people said was really true. There was really nothing I experienced that was different. I think the biggest change is once you sell a company, you do have some oversight, but it's nothing more critical. If anything, it kind of fine-tuned this a little bit. You get counting inventory or this, whatever it was, Tecta's very much following, certain accounting principles and how they run their businesses. And of course, them wanting to grow the service side of the business, I think is a key thing. And they've got people that come in and sit down with you and go through things. And I just feel like it's really helped us. Like this year, we did close to 14 million. So now some of that is inflation, but we have grown. So to me, it was a win-win situation. I think if I had sold to somebody else, I'm sure it would have been, okay, we need to cut costs. We need to figure out a way to make you more efficient, this and that, but not from a standpoint of becoming profitable efficiencies, but more from just cutting costs. I feel like I'm still running the place. I am, but I'm not president, but I don't own it. So kind of to me, it's the best of both worlds where I have the responsibility and the feeling of, hey, it's kind of how this organization runs is really up to me, but I don't have to worry about capital. Man, I just bought a brake that's going to cost a lot of money. In the old days, I would have spent months and months and months deciding, do I want to spend the money to do this? How much is it going to cost me over time? So, Tecta has a lot of capital. And so if you tell them you need trucks or equipment or crane to, do things more efficiently or better. And it's always better if you don't feel that. So they just do a few things, like every year we give a small bonus at Christmas time, which I always used to do that in the past. but Tecta just accrues it, which seems so basic. I should have been doing that for years, but for me, what would happen, I'd come to Christmas time, and sometimes I wouldn't necessarily have the money. And it was hard sometimes to write those checks because I knew it was going right against the bottom line. And yet I still wanted to appreciate the men. I mean, like I said, it seems so, but if you accrue it, you've already got it in your books. You've already figured it out. So I just think they have a good approach to how they handle things. And we always gave bonuses, but with the profit sharing, I mean, it's a significant number. Since they bought me, I've gotten a nice bonus every year, and they pay me well, and it's taken away that whole stress on money. It's all based on how you do. I mean, if your company does well, they give you a percent back of how well you do, and then you can distribute it how you want. So it's in my mind, I mean, the bonuses are much more significant than I have used to in the past. I think when you're part of like a national organization like Tecta, there's just so many other things open to you. The job that I did that was over $15 million that I never would have touched, and just from the bonding alone. Didn't get it, but I think that's in a business, the more opportunities you have, especially with a contractor that you've worked with in the past, you want those kind of opportunities. Like right now, we do some resource sharing. Perfect example with the supply issues a couple of years ago. C.E. Reeves had an order for some material. They didn't need it because of other things are going on. They said, does anybody want it? We just put an email. Well, you couldn't get ISO certain things. And it took me not very long, probably 6 months to use it all up. We had a slow spot in November, and so it worked out. I could send some guys to a Blackwell and Buckner job. And so that was kind of a neat thing. Years ago, I would have been going, well, do I lay these guys off? Try to keep them working and hope things pick up. And so you have that. Or, if I'm looking for, a piece of equipment, but I just asked, does anybody have one available? And we were able to get one. And so it's been, I think, a great access to such a large organization. There's a real, hey, we want to work together with helping people out if they need help. So I think it's just been a really positive environment. We've dabbled in different things, coatings and stuff, but I really feel like Tecta really helped us. Like we had a couple of big coating jobs where we worked with someone Tecta knew to do like a 900 square coating project, and it worked out great for us and great for that company. And it was just because of that relationship. So it's almost like they're so big, they have relationships with a number of other, not just Tecta or OPs, but also other companies. I think first you'd ask yourself, okay, what is your reason? Is it because you're not fully capitalized? You're looking for, a kind of as far as like a retirement, that meeting in Indianapolis. And I felt like, okay, if I wanted to sell the company, this is definitely someone I'd want to sell to. And then from there on, the due process, I was working with Jim out of Chicago, and he was very diligent. He just gave me a whole list of everything I need to put together if I really wanted to sell a Tecta. And I just had to go through the process of pulling it together. And I will say that everything they said they would do, and really what Mark emphasized to me is, listen, we want you to be successful. We're not coming in to buy you and have you leave tomorrow. We want this transition to work for us and for you. And we don't want you staying on and then being bitter that, hey, you didn't get what you thought you were going to get. And so I think it was people talking business win-win, sometimes it's just a bunch of words. But I really believe in this case, it was a win-win because we've done better than we were doing. And actually the year I sold it was the best year I ever had in business. And we've done better since then through Tecta. And I think if you talk to Tecta, they say, yeah, we're really happy we bought B&L. And I think they've identified, they don't just buy the biggest roofing companies, and they definitely don't buy just all small ones, but they're looking for medium-sized companies that they can grow. And it really worked out great.